guys, it's Glenn from glenscarcollection.com, and today is my 18th month review of my 2020 M340i XDrive. Can you believe it's been 18 months already? Time flies. Actually, it's probably 19 months. I'm a little behind. It's about 19 months, but I'll do it as if it's 18 months. So in this video, we'll go over what I like and what I don't like. We'll do that at the end. I'll tell you how I got this car kind of in the middle of the pandemic. Got a great price on it. I'll go over pricing, and then I'll show you some really cool features of what I like and don't like on this car. All right, so I leased this June 1st, 2020, so actually it's been about 19 months. Basically, my dealership had just kind of opened up since the lockdown. I remember the finance manager, because I leased this car, said it was his first day back to work. So, you know what, let's see if we can open the sunroof here. So this is something I never use, but I know most of you love it, is the sunroof. The only time I ever open it is on these videos to get some light in the car. So it's a cold winter day. I can't wait till we get some snow. We just had a dusting the other night. I can't wait till we actually get some heavy snow so I could try out these all-season tires. So I have the tires that it came with. I know you can get rear drive version of this car and all-wheel drive. The all-wheel drive is about $2,000 more, and that's what the XDrive stands for. And here in New Jersey, every dealer I've seen has XDrives. I haven't seen any rear drive. I'm sure you could order them, and you could also order them with summer tires. But every car, because I shopped a lot, I wanted buying this from BMW Tenafly. That's my home dealer. They do a great job, had the best price by far. But any car that I saw on the lot was always an XDrive, the all-wheel drive, with the all-season run flats. So I'm not that crazy about the all-season run flats, but there are some good things about them, which I'll tell you later in the video. So I leased this car for a great price, 12,000 miles a year, 36 months, for $595, including tax. And that was a steal. I think they're leasing with the shortage now, if you can even get one. I think they're leasing about in the 800 range. So if you've leased one recently, please say your payment below if you don't mind, just so we can kind of compare it. So this car was fully loaded that I bought it. I wanted Portimao blue, so I didn't care if it had no options or all the options. So this had almost all the options. The only thing I don't have is the adjustable suspension, essentially, in summer tires. And the laser lights, which were a very expensive option. I think that was like a couple $1,000s for that option. So my car still, even without those options, had a sticker of $66,000. So you could easily get to probably $70,000, $72,000 on these cars. Whether you want to get that high is up to you. But I don't think you need it. Honestly, if you got a base car without these options, you'd be fine. My favorite option on this entire car, not actually my favorite, but one of my favorite options is this Vanasker leather. Nice soft leather. I think it was about a $1,450 option, if I remember correctly. Again, I was looking for, the new M3 wasn't out yet. Honestly, if I had to do it over again, probably would have waited an extra year, kept the Audi S8 for another year, but I was having a ton of out-of-warranty repairs, and going to hockey at night with those 21-inch wheels, I was just hitting pothole after pothole with New Jersey construction, and when it's raining, you can't tell where the potholes are or how deep they were, and I was tired of changing flat tires at midnight on the side of the road. So I got rid of that. I actually traded that car in on the 2017 Porsche 911, the Miami Blue manual. And then I said, hey, I need a daily driver. We're still kind of on lockdown. Literally the same week I got the Porsche in this car. I got one Saturday, and the following Saturday I got this, so 8 days apart. And I just leased it. I said I want an all-wheel drive daily driver that I could use for my clients. And honestly, since COVID, we haven't had any clients in the car. But at some point we will. And I have 2 kids, you know, wife and 2 kids. So definitely this is a good 5-seater. It's a decent, good 4-seater. It's a decent 5-seater, as long as the 5th person is, you know, a toddler, a child, because obviously there's no leg room here with the center hump. So you're gonna have to kind of like straddle, put a leg on each side. There's an eco mode, which I've never really used. Well, we'll go over that in a second. You know what we'll do? I'll whip out the GoPro here, and I'll show you some features, what I like and what I don't like. Some features I like, some cool features, and then at the end I'll tell you what I like and don't like about the car. All right, so there's different drive modes here. If you can see, there's eco mode, which I've never used, and I think you press that, and then all the instrumentation turns blue, and that'll obviously, you can even do some individual settings in here. I've never touched eco, and I've had this for, let's get rid of that. Most of the time I drive in comfort mode. That'll give you your stop start. I have this shut off here just so I can have some heat in the car while I'm doing this and show you some features without running off the battery. So you can shut off, stop, start. If you do in comfort mode, it'll shut off when it's appropriate to do so, unless you press this button. Now when you put it in sport mode, things get more interesting. You have Sport Standard, Sport Plus, Sport Individual, and then you can configure individual. So you can do Sport Steering. You can do the engine in Sport mode. Whoops. You can do the engine in Sport mode, the transmission in Sport mode, and that's how I usually leave it, to be honest. But you have, you have a Sport Plus. Let's do Sport Plus for the engine. What am I missing out there? Ooh, Sport Plus for the transmission. Let's do that too. So that's some cool features, and I believe it saves it once we do it. Yep. And then you got kind of some different screens here, and you can kind of go through the option menus and stuff like that. Heads-up display changes. I don't know if you can see that, but you get a cool tachometer, not just your miles per hour. This will be your warning lights. I believe if you this will bring right up on your camera here. And what's really cool about the camera, so this is the front camera. I'm backed away from the curb here because it's kind of low and I probably would hit that curb. But it'll also give you your doors. So if there are people parked in the space next to me, it would tell me if I could open those doors or not. The camera that's red here, it's actually telling you that you could, that's the camera that's going on right now. So if I hit this, I can now do the back camera, which is showing the side camera if I'm backing at a tight spot. I believe it would show the color of your car as well. And then obviously it moves to this camera here. So we'll see, you could see it actually move. And then backup assistant, that actually I think backs you backwards. It'll, if we hit that, backup assistant will actually back us up. I don't usually do that. You can do the autonomous parking where it'll park for you. Honestly, I've never used that either. Maybe we should make videos of that. So one of my favorite features of this car is actually that 360 camera. It's so useful, it's optional, it's a worthwhile option. What you can also do is you can actually, with the GPS in conjunction with the navigation, you can hit 5 different places. So like work, I park in a tight parking garage. If your house had a steep driveway, and that front camera will automatically come on when you enter those places. It should be more than 5. I think it should be more like 10, but definitely you can keep your favorite 5. Now, if we want to shift in manual mode, say we put it in sport, we can put it in sport, or you can even do this in comfort too. If we were in drive, we just flick it over to the left, and now we have the paddle shifters for manual mode. We'll put it back in park, and this is our parking brake here, so it's electronic. You also have the paddle shifters. They're decent size. I wouldn't want any smaller than this. And they feel pretty good to the touch. They're pretty easy to use. And it's a torque converter automatic, so it certainly will never feel like a dual clutch or manual transmission, of course. So favorite features, I love the leather and this 360 camera. Those are probably must-have options for me. Other things I like, while I shut this GoPro off, I love the power this car has. So this is the B58 engine, not the S58, but it has 380 horsepower. 0 to 60, probably realistically about 4 flat, 4.1. I know Motor Trend Car and Driver, one of those got like in the 3/8 with it. That's probably possible. But, you know, obviously it's a little quicker, 0.2 seconds to 60 quicker with the all-wheel drive, which this car has, obviously, because it's traction, even though it weighs a little bit more. So I think it's just a great everyday car. I don't think of this as like a baby M3 that has a different engine, different suspension. I've driven the M4 manual, which I loved on this channel. If I had to do it over again, I would probably have gotten the M3 because I think I need the 4 doors. As far as I know, from what I hear, you know, the M3s are, most of them, people configure them about 84,000. That's before ceramic brakes, which I don't think you need as a daily driver. And I think the lease payment's about $1,200 a month. So the lease payment would be double. I'd love to trade up because I'm probably break even because I got such a good deal on this. Typically when you're in a lease, you're stuck with it. I could think within, you know, break even or maybe $1,000, I can get out of this lease and get a new M3, M4, but I think the allocations are sold out to at least the spring, and then my lease payment would double. Is it twice as good a car? Maybe, but I don't know if it's worth that kind of lease payment, especially I have so many other cars. But I love this as a daily driver. Though I don't like the grip of the run flat tires, it's rest assuring when I have to travel all over for my real estate business or play hockey at midnight that if I did hit a pothole, I'm not going to have a flat tire with the run flat tires. I could get home. I don't have to scan the road like I do with my other cars, afraid that I'm going to hit a pothole or something and damage a wheel, get a flat tire or damage a rim or something like that. So I know when I go someplace, I'm actually going to get there and get home, which is rest assuring. Probably why don't I go get with snow tires, right? I'm a big believer in snow tires, even with a rear drive car with snow tires over all-wheel drive all seasons. We're already more than half through this lease. It really doesn't make sense to do that. If my next car was an M3 or something like that, and it comes with summer tires, then I would get dedicated wheels with snow tires for the winter. All right, so I love this car as a daily driver. I don't consider it an M car at all, but it's a phenomenal daily driver. I love this Portimao blue. I love this black interior. I love the leather. I love that 3D camera. And it's been a great car. Unfortunately, since I've been working at home and we had the whole lockdown last year, I'm way under the miles. So I should really be at halfway on the mileage, which should be what, about 18,000 miles. I'm at 9,000 miles, 9,400 as of this. So I'm going to try to drive as much as I can so we can do better reports. I think we've had at least 2 services already, and I think there may have been a recall too. So I've been to the dealer a couple times, but everything's been fantastic. No repairs, no going in for any warranty stuff. So it's been a super, super reliable car. All right, guys, remember to like, share, subscribe, and I will see you next time.